Čau, čau. Čusík. Asi bych mohl, co? Či tak já to udělám. Hned. No víš co, to můžu vlastně celý dát asi pryč a to tam ani nepotřebuji mít ve výsledku. Doufám, že Trulex brzo umře. Let's go, Set je mrtvej, paráda. Jo, ten je god. Ale ten teďka valuje snad každý kap mi přijde. To si děláš stranu, že on to streamuje i Pajus, jo. No way. Tak to je teda konkurence, no. Čau. Já nevím, komu z tohohle FNCS jak fandit vůbec. Asi tohohle mám rád a ten se umírá. Malibuka už je taky dead. Co ten Thomas AGD? Kvalnul to vůbec. Protože on to nekvalnul ten. Že on furt žije kamy, no tak to ne. Jo, tamhle máme kvíz, jo. Tak kam je tady, máme free. Jako doufám, že tyjo, reálně tohle je člověk, který mu ty FNCSka by vyhrát přijel asi nejvíc, jako. No ještě kvíz je takový trošku reboot, ale... Tak to nejde. Vadel, no tak to ne. Tak to umřel ne moc pěkně. No tak... Rezon doufám, že teda jako nedá vin, jako. Pixie je dead, to je dobrý. Ne, já jsem si to tady teď kliknul omylem. Jaj. Nice. No Vadal hlavně ne on, tyjo. Takže s Vaňákem to vyhráli. To je 173 bodů, to už je dost, no. Takže tabulka je aktuálně takováhle. Tyhle, soupeři o 50 bodů, 40 bodů. Jaká mi se ty čtvrtí, no doufám, že to zkazí teď. Čau. To mám s HD 10, Vadel s Rezonem 8. Ej, tak takhle v sobotu docela dobrý, hele. Jde to. Tyson 11. No, Pixie 16. Doufám, že to zkazí. Trulex, no, ty jsou ztracený. Doufám, že to taky nedají. Hedra. Nic moc taky. Malibuka s Marsačem 8 bodů po 2 hrách. FNC je z winners, jo. Čau. Čtvrtý. Tyjo, no, ale jako 40 bodů náskok takhle po druhé hře je dost, jako. Pátý první. Čtvrtý 8. Tak to už je třetí hra? Jo, už je třetí hra. Let's go! Aha, tak prej error. Tak já teda chvilku počkám ještě. A zapnu to. A, to furt to načítá. Tak zkusím zapnout přímo Fortnite stream.
Battlegrounds kind of leaves you as like a walking tracker of some sorts where they can constantly see you, and the effects isn't necessarily as good as some of the other medallions in the game. Teeny and Chap end up in another early game skirmish, and it does look like it's an early game skirmish for the forecast tower, where they've gotten it 2 out of 2 games so far.
You gotta be careful as the crack came through on Teeny. Just giving a little freedom for Asa and Marco. You can see it even in the back end there. Volko Vortex are still on the tower, but Teeny and Chap now have been able to heal up here with a little bit of time, but the back and forth is going to continue.
How consistently they've been able to win it. You see another team actually kind of boxed up over towards the forecast tower, and another one higher up on the mountain. So no matter what happens here, if they want that forecast tower, it's going to be fight after fight to try to make that a possibility, as just Asa just put so much pressure from below. Not wanting to give him some free and easy movement as Marco just gets tagged up. Shields drop just like that. Huge flank coming in, but it is going to be a trade. A knock for damage, but Teeny's going to be dropped 1 for 1. And it is going to put him down into a 1v1 situation. And as I say that, he's able to not only get Marcos down, keep him alive, all while another spray is coming in. This could be a successful opportunity at a revive.
Great way of keeping Marco up, but Chap is not going to let that slide as he boxes himself up on the same layer now.
Tak se nebude dostal, ty.
But 2 nice shots. What a play from Asa. Both angles picked wisely. And now he's going to be able to get Marco back up.
It's going to be a big win for them. But if they want the forecast tower, it doesn't stop there. One side of the map, Faint God, Splash, Dexy, and Eclipse. Almost all day long, these two teams are battling it out over towards Rebel.
Těch typek s pistolkou asi
and the surrounding kind of
společně na tom není úplně dobře.
Careful though, as they're trying to disengage down this area. There is another team on that island, in which it does look like they're trying to go in that direction. So they have to be careful, because now they've given up high ground and they're surrounded by 2 teams.
Yeah, you can see it's not a good position to be in. They are going to choose to swim around to get themselves closer into zone. Comeback Blaha, sorry. As well, going to do a mid-map rotation here. They are not fully in the zone yet, as they kind of want to get to the least congested side. But there are some duos following them. And the forecast tower also has been secured, so they do know where these upcoming zones are going to be closing.
Comeback and Blaha not having the best so far, but still plenty of games left.
Ne, Pixie. Nechce, Pixie umřel.
Walks and Pixie just trying to take down Splash and Faint. Over 80 points so far in this game, and it does look like they're going to be able to barely and narrowly escape just over that mountain. And kind of gives Dexy and Eclipse, another team that was following them, an option of which team they want to go for. Do you want to travel towards zone? You see them in the mini-map beginning to disengage all the same. Splash and just kind of a little miracle happen while not getting targeted and chased around the map like we've seen so many other teams and players do before.
Mentioned Noms once again, continuing their aggression from the already 2 eliminations they have out at the start. Still in the underworld here. It's Marius Sangild, who's down below. Also, once again, getting a flashback to game 1. They are not looking healthy, low on shield. I wonder if that's just a temporary thing. Yeah, there it is. Okay. They're more than healthy enough. They just had to recuperate it.
With how active this team and like kind of how dominant this team has been, you even see the quick stat there. I'm just more surprised about how low amount of damage they've actually been able to do as a full duo so far. They have about under 1,500 total damage as a team, which is something you wouldn't necessarily expect from a contested drop with the notoriety that is around Marius and what he's able to do in a lot of situations. So I want to see them kind of pick up the pace here one way or another to close out the day and really start off hot in day 2 tomorrow.
Pixie walks, making good use of those shield fishes to instantly recuperate what they have lost in this engagement. As Fat Splash, though, not looking healthy at all. Walks is just one pick of zone away. As the knock has came through by Pixie. 2v1 now, player advantage. Just one more shot needed, and just like that, it's been closed off. Pixie getting the job done.
Have to be careful though. Dexy and Eclipse still on that mountain range. I said they had the flexibility.
Yes, pušněte Pixieho, prosím. Pušněte. Vypněte.
Once you start to feed, get active. That's when you're going to try to go. You get that green light. We have to be careful. Wox is positioned above. Pixie is down below. You don't want to sandwich yourself and put yourself in a bad spot, and that's why you see Dexy overbuilding to try to get himself into a better spot than he was just seconds ago. Eclipse is ready to start the fight down below, and you see them slowly but
Pojďte,
surely
zabijte
falling down
Pixieho.
mountain, separated, isolated away from everybody else in the lobby.
Watch Pixie though, recuperating that shield and HP that they had lost. Now, both players looking healthy. The duos don't know exactly though how tagged Wox and Pixie are. They know they just got out of an engagement and they're trying to decide, are they low on loot? Are they low on mats? Little do they know, 3 chug splashes to spare. So this engagement will take a long time to finish if they continue playing aggressive like this.
Looking in the mini-map right now again, Takata. The mini-map has so much information. That third-party team rotating nearby. They hear the noise, and you kind of see their arrows turning around in all directions.
A další tým tam k ním jde.
Is it not something we want to go after? You can see Dexy and Eclipse fully focused on that team that's right below them. Not a single one of these 2 players, or even all 4 of them, has had a chance to really look up and assess the situation. And as soon as
Ježiš, ty máš štěstí taky.
disengage on out, and that is the signal. They started to get tagged up into the distance, and now they know it's safe from the position in which they're at.
Cringe. Mountains now made their way over to the bunker here where Skivvy and Haris are at. Will they kind of trap them in there though? Or will they kind of just take some shots and then let them be?
Those tough situations. You got Crimson Nonge who are trying to fight for this bunker, make their way down, and then you got that team Hriskin's Fee who are just kind of bunkered, hunkered down. They really have nowhere to go, and luckily for them though, the zone is in their favor.
Yeah, it's kind of the positive of the situation, right? And not only that, them already having 2 eliminations also means that they've done a good bit of damage just to get here. So even when Storm Surge does start ticking, they should not be in much of a worry. You can see Underworld 2 still has a couple duos as well. But so far, it's kind of going to be a stalemate here for both duos.
Yeah, it just kind of worries me as you see those other teams towards the Underworld. Even though they're kind of busy right now, looting up the scraps, farming up as much as they need. As soon as they want, literally at a moment's notice, and then you combine the fact that there's Underworld dashes, they can close the gap in an instant. And even if they're not going to try to disrupt the fight as a 2v2, they can kind of wait around the side and try to third party as soon as somebody tries to disengage.
There's the clock ticks.
Tam emotujou.
Emotes come through. Skivvy here is saying, we're not going to move. You can stay there as long as you like. As Axe Force and Clownski have a different idea in mind. Looks like it's Pink, and he's got no duo partner.
Yeah, I thought I saw it in the feed. Actually confirmed it was Axe Force. I was able to get that elimination and cleanup onto him. Kind of leaving him as a solo to just wander around. In the zone, though, as long as he has some heals, and very, very early on still in this game that he could get the reboot back. So you have a whole plethora of other worries, but he actually doesn't have any heals, so there's only so long he can stay in the zone. And even though he does have the wings, he can't necessarily use it right now going up that hill and up that mountain, because it just makes him an easy target to get taken down.
Yeah, I mean, with 25 HP, that's not the position you want to be in. Even Yanis or Flixie could just take one shot from where they're at, and if it connects, Pink is gone. But it looks like he is going to make it towards the reboot van here. Try and bring Vico back into the game, but come back from this, they're going to need some big eliminations. But if a duo is going to be able to do it, I mean, it's going to be Pink and Vico if they can get healed back up.
Čuj, tak tam je dobře na tom ostrově. Co si 5 dují?
That actually they can utilize and kind of get themselves back into the game. Vaniac Swizzy, 138 damage above the threshold. And you can see not only are they high up on the mountain, so they can use the launch pad, the Flowberry Fizz, they have the wings in their inventory, which you're seeing a lot of players popularize here today to kind of use for rotation. And it's not the normal way to kind of, they're not flying through the sky looking like an eagle. They're making short bursts from one spot to the next to make the rotation that much easier.
Yeah, and it's incredibly popular so far today, like you've mentioned. Seeing it a lot more than in previous tournaments here. And just like we saw, Vico has been brought back in the game, but with no heals, no shields, before they start taking fights. I mean, hopefully they can find something, but 25 below, it's not like they have a lot of time to work with.
I got a question, and this just might be thinking outside the box, but never mind, he's already down. Well, that question's out the window by Pink. He gets knocked. I think there's a chance for Vico to try to save him, depending on who actually got the credit for that knock. That was Kiro, so far into the distance, and I was gonna say if he wanted to give himself just a little bit of a push, some fall damage, gets revived, he would have more HP in theory, but it's a little bit of a moot point now. So Vico, even though he's gotten one reboot already, he got the card and has to get ready for another one.
Čau, hele, soutěž mám na tom, na Instagramu Fishcz podtržítko, hele, ti to pošlu do chatu. Aha, tak to je škoda, tam totiž na Instagramu, víš. A to mám právě jako post na Instagramu. Hele, abych mohl dělat customky, tak musím mít aspoň 1000 odběratelů, víš. Hele, rád bych dělal customky, ale bohužel to nejde, no. Ale jakmile hitnu 1000 odběratelů, tak určitě budou, hele. Protože já potřebuji mít jakoby supporter creditor code, aby jsem tam mohl dělat customky. A na to potřebuju mít, že jo, 1000 odběratelů. Abych to mohl založit.
For the Storm Surge threshold to refresh, but to my surprise, 283 is actually how much below they are. So a headshot sniper rifle is just going to be the start of what they need.
See, there are a couple teams.
Jo, tady teď hele, se koukám na FNCS, ale až to skončí, tak což je asi za 2 hodiny. Možná tak, ještě méně možná. Tak klidně, jo.
And the biggest thing is they need to figure out a way to start the fight with damage, but it does look like Vico gets taken down to Frizzy and Howley find him slipping behind enemy lines.
No, tak moc nepřežili.
And he meets that same fate. He goes down altogether, but it's Scroll and Scrap to actually get the loot taken for themselves, even though they didn't get the elimination.
Great way, great pickup. You can see how Swizzy is able to do it. Nice little drop down dash. Almost piece controlled him with the dash there, no builds required. Just predicted where he was going to jump out. And even though they got that elim, still 114 below, forced to continue looking for shots, as Merstash Malabuka might just be the closest duo, but they have just found that solo that was cracked. Swizzy though gets his elim stolen as the clock keeps ticking. 52 below, damage keeps striking. They're going to be forced to drop on Merstash and Malabuka, but that's not a duo you want to face against.
And that was a very, very risky shot. You see, Vaniac with just a sliver of HP. Swizzy now getting ticked down, and they do not have a chance to feel comfortable with this Storm Surge. They get a moment where they're above, and they immediately go below. They take some damage. Luckily, they had more than enough heals to try to out-heal their current situation. And with 16 above, they are on the hunt yet again. Vaniac leading the charge. Swizzy close behind, and there are so many teams they can target out as soon as they make their way here.
Shots being made, but nothing connecting. Just 31 above now.
A tak to je škoda. Možná třeba někde jinde, nebo zítra třeba.
And Vaniac gets dropped. Swizzy now from taking home the VR in the last match to being left as a solo.
Zasa there Don't even know if Marco's still alive, and he's able to kind of find anything he get his hands on. Swizzy knows that he cannot get the reboot, cannot get his teammate back. Quickly repositioned himself a little bit down the mountain, and in a much safer spot where less and less people can try to target him. He looks on, sees a team there, tries to target him, but that's Veno and Tayson who might try to take advantage of a lot of that damage, but it's Swizzy who actually gets the knock. Credit for that one as well. Quickly swipes up the body. He knows he needs as much loot as he can get his hands on as he's a solo.
I mean, if we saw anything from Cammy in the last match, 44 points as a solo. I'm hoping to see Swizzy can do something similar here.
Seeing the feed kind of light up there for a moment. Seen a lot of players and teams kind of getting dropped left.
No on to je živě právě teď, jo.
Unfortunate positions as Seti and Cammy now have a huge strength in numbers. You can kind of see their position as they climb up the leaderboard. Currently positioned 4th place. Can't say no one would have predicted it, because I think Levin kind of shouted it out along with Reese Hub. It's been the Cammy curse, but I mean, if they can get top 5 in this major, is that more of a curse or is that a
Dáme hele někdy jindy. Třeba zítra. Když tak tady můžeš do chatu napsat svoji nekastě přidám.
What they want to take home that Axe of Champions, and they're on route to doing it. The deal reason, not too far behind in 9th place.
Not too much to worry for them. 169 above the threshold. Just got to rotate from point A to point B. It's going to be a little bit harder than those that already have the wings, but they make it look almost easy as can be. And while they're trying to get their spot in towards the zone, they immediately switch layers. They don't want to be stuck on that ultimate low ground, because if you look at the mini-map, Takata, there are different mountain ranges, different edges. It could drop down. It can go even higher. So you want to plan for the worst and hope for the best.
With just 20 seconds, the zone does close, and that 8th zone is going to pull towards one of the edges appears. Some know it from the forecast tower, some don't. Veno, though, quick little points, just racked up as he continues to jump on into the zone. Hazen already made his way in. Now they have the kind of little box, so a bit of safety, but you got to be careful, as they might just be pickaxing right towards a duo.
Tak jsem zradil vyhrát tuhle hru, tyjo.
Oh, they're ready to fight. One of the most aggressive teams in all of the land. It's just an unfortunate spot that it just kind of crunched down on the side of the mountain. Really not able to kind of move around in that box as freely as they would hope. Cammy and Seti once again find a way to get front side of the zone where nobody's really currently at, which gives them priority position over everybody else in the lobby, especially those that are so far back that have that max pull. And now you can see as time and seconds pass, others are inching closer and closer in that direction, but Seti and Cammy, they're the ones that are on top.
Let's see how they play it here. They're low on HP, but being ahead of zone, it's a perfect place to be. Thomas HD, Queasy, they had such a strong start to the game in the previous match, but as soon as they tried to hold height, even with almost full materials and a solid loadout, they went down in 2 seconds. So I know that can be difficult mentally, but hopefully with 4 elims on the board already, they can come out strong now in this 3rd match.
4 below though, 40, constantly falling. They don't have a ton of heals to kind of use in just a quick couple of seconds to try to out-heal what Tayson kind of has left in terms of overall HP and shields. That's why Veno is just going on the attack, and what a monster shot going to be landed onto Malibuka. That alleviates a ton of pressure, and you see now that he's able to get the green light to go. Veno, Tayson reunite in the same box, and they're ready for this next rotation.
Job is not done though, neither for Cammy and Seti, as they are 4 below. Cammy might be forced once again pretty soon to play as a solo if Seti does not heal up here. Both players looking quite low. That shot
Ciao, 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 ciao.
22 above, but it's not enough for safety. 4 seconds left till zone starts closing and more opportunities arise to get shots.
Tayson's gonna get dropped though. A challenge that I think Veno is ready and willing to take as he continues to rotate forward. Easy, very, very little contestation on this side of the zone as it continues to move forward. But he gets targeted out. Team staggering themselves behind for a perfect couple of shots like this. Veno still above the damage threshold. Very little to worry about other than making it from point A to point B safely.
But Asai Snazy up above in the clouds, looking to hold on to it. Nice little ring rotation to get ahead of zone. Great way to conserve their materials as Swizzy now 136 above. He has lost Banyak, but we talked about it earlier. Clutching it up as a solo, there's potential for it.
99 above the damage threshold. Flowberry Fizz, more than enough left in his inventory. Top 20 position. Still have more points and distance to cover before he's done just yet. As Robon gets targeted the backside of zone, Cam, you said they get credit for that knock and soon to get credit for that elimination. But you can look at their damage, still only 11 above the threshold and quickly falling below. So their job is not done just yet. Taking the first tick of that storm down to just 42 HP. Cammy needs to figure out a way to get damage. Seti gets dropped. One more tick is all he can take, and he finally gets the fizz in time. 2 HP. The Dream trying to stay alive. He cannot take any more damage, or else he will go down. But luckily for him, Storm Surge turns off just in the nick of time.
Has the blessing, just saved Cammy. Once again, forced as a solo. 76, is it enough? It's not. Freezing with too much HP. 180 turns around, gets the elim now. 4 on the board as he continues to stay up. Vidil has gone down. So many solos, almost looking like a solo FNCS, Jacob.
To jsou aktuálně první to ty.
He's almost looking strong, almost looking like a full duo the way he's playing. Doesn't really have time to pop the Flowberry Fizz just yet. Mustache joins the crew of solos in this game. There's only a few really left alive as a solo. Mustache is going to be one less that anybody has to worry about.
So is he continuing now? I believe he was the first solo we saw from any of the people that just went down, and also the last one standing so far. As he makes his way once again ahead of zone. The issue is, though, only 6 more builds. Flowberry is about to be fully used up now. No more shields. Only has the wings for mobility and not a lot of materials. Reason, though,
Trulex mrtvej.
Hele,
pokud budu mít ještě čas, tak asi potom večer bych dal ještě. Tam to asi skončí asi třeba za hodinu a půl.
Kira and Moppy close to high ground. Is it on their mind? Is it what they're looking to claim? As Cringe and Noms on the opposite, looking to drop closer.
To oni budou tu ty první, ty jo. No i když nebudou.
That was a huge find. They were peeking through the builds to make that one a possibility. Peekaboo, I see you. Chicho gets found out as well. 8 eliminations so far. And even though we saw Thomas go down, we know what Queasy is capable of. 6 out of 12 games last year in Major 2. Might be a different duo, but he's hoping for the same result.
Just 6 duos left. The turnaround onto Kiro. Can Queasy clean it up? You gotta be careful though, it's a full-on duo down below. Hits the initial shot, but now is gonna go down to zone.
Tak pojď, toto vyhraje. Tak ty mají bin tu ten. Ty mají bin. No i když. Nemají nic. Co se to děje? Tak dodal win. Ty, tak to byl dobrý závěr tohle. Holy. Tak to bylo dobrý. Hele, na Instagramu mám soutěž o gift. Fishcz potržítko na Instagramu. Stejně jako jméno na YouTube, akorát ještě potržítko za to. Tam mám soutěž o gift. Co, tak to byla dobrá hra tohle. Že vyhrál to nakonec tuty, nebo to zkazili? Vyhráli. Ty jo. Tak jak je tabulka aktuální? Tak, je to aktualizovaný. Nevejtejte, prosím, děkuju. Takže Noms s Cringem první. No, těsný to je. Vaněk se Svizem druhý. Pixie pátý, no to mi neříkej Pixie, doufám, že to jako zkazí. Rezon Vadel 6. Tomáš z HD Queasy 7. Kamisety 8. Trulex 9. Tyson Vino 12. 16. Fast Rocky. Merstač Malibu, tyjo. 50 bodů, 29. Nejde jim to moc, tyjo. Janis, 42. 10 bodů. A oni mají body jenom za 2 placementy a 1 kill, no. Tak jim se moc nedaří teda. A tady furt to ty s 0 bodama. No, zajímavý teda. Jako taky si říkám, no, jako tady jsem to teď docela tady jako neovládá úplně poslední dobou. 14. 10. 20. no, jako. Jako kdyby teď dali win, tak jako se docela posunou, no, ale. Ten Pixie, já ho tak nemám rád Pixieho, jak to, že můžu být 5. teď on je nejhorší prostě. 29. 12. se ukliknul na 3. místo. A co je tohle za randomy? Jako těch, co jsou teď asi na vrchu, tak to nejvíc přeju asi Thomas HD, ale... No hlavně ať to nevyhraje Kamis Sety nebo Trulex, ty fakt nechce, aby to vyhráli. Pixie a Kamis Sety nechce, aby vyhráli. A Trulex taky. Trulex, Sety a Pixie, to jsou ty, který nechci, aby to vyhráli hlavně. Jinak mi to je jedno. Co to je vůbec, tyjo? Za týpky tohle. To je ten Pixie, proč je 5. No a ty to jsou tady jako dost vyrovnaný od sebe. To nedali ani jeden win, ale tyjo, 8. 4. 2. ta konzistence je jako dobrá, no. Tak, 4. hra. Tak co už běží? Zatím ne. Kolik vlastně by... Můžu vidět price pool někde? Tady. 170 000 první a poslední má 1000. No respektive $500. Když se to splituje. Ty ale jako... De facto rozdíl mezi 4. a 1. je jako poloviční rozdíl, jako to je. To je jako insane. Chodáci tu ty tipsy, no, ty mají cash, jak kdyby hráli Basic Cup, jo. Ale furt $500 není špatný. Co ten Trulex, jo? Vyhrál vůbec Rezon nějaký FNCS castě, ne ani?
Is that actually they are definitely stronger together, because it could have been so different, you know, if any of the other duos who had qualified for semis had wanted to go with another duo, we would have seen something incredibly different happening. Is this unprecedented, this performance level for a duo that did want to go their separate ways?
No, I wouldn't say so. You'd be surprised how many top teams like don't want to play with each other sometimes, right? Like historically, there's been.
Tak co nám tady chytří komentáři povídají.
They've gone on to win FNCSs. There's been examples of that. So you know, it isn't unprecedented by any means, I'd say.
It's a professional relationship.
Interesting. So many professional relationships in
Kamu, já absolutně nechápu. On, jeden z nich mluví a ty druhý buď se smějou, anebo kývají hlavou prostě. To je nejvíc reboot jako chování tohle. Ten nemluví a tenhle kejvá hlavou. Yes, zase kejvá hlavou? To víš. A ten druhý se směje. To je dobrý, jako tohle. Když jsem naskriptovaný, co mají dělat, jako. Kámo, co to má za plesnivý sluchátka, co to je? Tak, čtvrtá hra, jdem na to. No, hezky bugnutý replay máte.
It's down below in the underworld. 3 teams originally contesting this drop spot, but it looks like now it might just be 2. It's actually Lavish Lair.
Again, I think this might be like a blessing in disguise for Crimson Noms because they're able to get the loot. They're able to get some early surge, and even if they don't necessarily take this duo out right away, they have options of what to do afterwards. So even though I expect this to be something that's fought out unless the other team disengages, I expect the, Cringe and Noms, as soon as they get the loadout they want, to try to push that team out of what is their POI Lavish Lair.
Look at this though.
To jsou 3 týmy, no, dobrý.
Looks like Thomas HD and Queasy were originally going straight into the engagement with Doom and Ice, but now almost a little switch up on where these duos have been dropping within Mount Olympus. It's actually going to be the Ice that's going to take out Destru here. Doom has been dropped down, so now it's just a 1 versus 1. And it's just a waiting game for Thomas HD and Queasy to come up and clean it up.
Yeah, they just get so much
Počkej, on je sám?
because of those teams not only just fighting it out, but fighting it out
To je solo.
as they are.
O něm neví.
All it happens, Queasy Thomas
Ví o
just
něm.
looting up, getting the perfect loadout. And just getting the final elimination.
No,
And once again,
tak Queasy s Thomasem vyhráli landing.
Mount Olympus for themselves. There might be one team on top of that mountain.
Tak to mají dobrý.
From above, but they're not really getting
A mají i
enough
surge vlastně.
information. A lot of that will have came from the feed.
Looking at Sky Scroll though.
No pojď Hedra, bývalý duo, spíš jeden kap hrál s Hutim. No. Jenže Scroll je asi, no. Jenže Scroll se Skyem jsou cády buti. Čau, hele, mám se dobře. Co ty? To tady kolika týmů? 3 týmy.
You can see some of that damage landing on Sky because of it. Kind of forcing these 2 teams into extractions lower than where they're currently positioned. Even Sky and Scroll are separated from each other. But with no current engagements going on, you can see in the minimap, nobody's just trying to rush one another and clean up a lot of that damage. This fight
Dobře.
does tend to slow down.
Ty oni fightí na mý lokaci, jo, to je můj baráček. Tady fightí. Fastroky asi v pohodě celkem. Jako je trošku takový rebootlej, ale je to dobrý. Tak ty jsou... Ono pušuje. Haha. Co mu... Hej, mu úplně přeskočilo. Co to bylo? Úplně z ničeho jsme tady vyběhnul. Tak to... Tam jdem letí další tým, tak vypadá. For them to target out either Rowbound or Fast Strokey to turn this into a 2v1 situation. There's just so much pressure coming from all around. Fast Strokey not necessarily getting the upper hand in that fight and kind of forced to heal up, back up just a little bit, and that third party gave him so much time to come in and disrupt this fight. And now the decisions have to be made. Do you continue on? Do you disengage? And I do think they're going to pick the latter.
You can see how quickly that decision came through, though. You said it on your mind already. What's the play? And they already decided we're disengaging. So they started walking away. They got a bit of damage already, and to be honest. Tak nakonec dipnuli. No jakou storage získali, takže asi dobrý.
Not too surprised. Pleasant Piazza was pretty crowded in that last game, and
tady padají 4 týmy. Oni dole ještě padají 4 týmy, jo. Tu ty jsou aktuálně první, co tady teď spektíme.
I saw Marius in the distance, slowly but surely moving over. Sangild as well. A long journey away from the underworld where they originally start, but sometimes with how they've been doing so far in this game, 60 points behind their own goal, not necessarily ours, so they probably realize they need to shake things up just a little bit if they want to get back on track.
I think sneaky here, seeing if they can catch one of their opponents off guard or maybe even scavenge a bit of.
Hele, ani nevíš, jak rád by jsem nějaká customky dal, no, jenže prostě potřeboval bych se prdej creator code, na který potřebuji 1000 odběratelů, no. Rád bych jsem dal customky, hele, taky bych je rád dal. Ale s tím to nejde, no.
When it has come to Storm Surge. Trap has about 1700 damage. Our Cringe has 1700 damage by himself. About 1400, so they are doing just enough when it comes to that Storm Surge to constantly keep themselves above the threshold, not worrying about taking damage, so that way they can primarily focus on their positioning through each and every one of these mid games.
An engagement that we've seen time and time again. On the corner of the map, we see a lot of fights taking place. One of them, Pixie and Walks like being involved in, but you can see the danger that can come from it.
No, ale já teď tady se koukám na FNCSK.
About to be in their own fight potentially.
A jestli si psal, že třeba za 2 hodiny nebo za hodinu a půl nebudeš moc, tak... Ale hele, mám se ve friendech, tak někdo můžeme dát.
Just gotta be careful, because even though that side of the map is opened up, if the zone does pull away, that will put him on the congested side of the zone. As we finally tune on board Yanis and Flixie. Not as uncontested as a drop as we thought we were going to see to start the day. You see multiple teams, including CZB and Nathan, moving in over towards reckless swearways, stealing away the loot. And that's what happens when you're a little slow to get out of your POI. You try to loot just a little bit.
Oh, to děkuju. To jsou úplně boxu. Ty jsou nejhorší. Co dělá scroll, to nebají. Úplně, tyjo. Hej, co dělají? No dobrý. Tak teď Kirva to brutálně solnul. A Hedra udělá co?
I think they're even going to be happy with that. They could chase the solo, but it's not worth it at this point. Because now they're going to comfortably with that bit amount of damage.
A Rezon s Vadalem tady fightí. Aha, pozor, tady je fight. Rezon je asi 8. a ty Vaňák je asi 2.
Almost expect to be near the top of the leaderboard through and through. 219 points though for Swizzy and Vaniak. That calm,
2. a 6. no.
They already have a win. They have consistency
Ciao.
their belt, and even though this is just 6 games through day 1 and they got 6 more tomorrow, you want to give yourself as much of a cushion over the rest of the pack as possible.
2nd and 6th place fighting in the early game could potentially mean huge shifts in the leaderboard, but as both players seem to have disengaged, it's going to be a bit of time for them to continue with their path. Take a look though at Sky and Scroll, what they were able to do here.
To zahrál pěkně tohle.
First shot and just the pressure is just too much. And that's what happens when you have a lot of that piece control. You can take shortcuts. Your opponent is trying to escape and then you kind of have them blocked off on one wall, boxed in, your box, really no exits. It's kind of what you expect from Sky and Scroll.
Teeny Chap. Huge start to game 1.
Jo, oni fightí o Trezor. Teda co to melu? Je to Trezor, nebo? Jo, o bunker. Co to melu?
These can take a lot of time to conclude.
A lot of hype surrounding this team. And it's the early games you can kind of see a lot of their potential, a lot of their shines of greatness. It's just the end game or lack of opportunity to play some of these end games out is where they begin to fall short. A little bit of a cheeky opportunity there, trying to go for a snipe shot. Vocal Vortexers continuously trying to gain the pieces back. They're willing to trap themselves in this bunker to make sure that they get the loot. You see the zone is going to be all around them, so they have more than enough time to wait out Chap and Teeny.
Let's continue to come on through. Getting
No.
a flashback from the last match. We saw how long it took to get out of that bunker. And this might just be a similar scenario.
Basically up to Vocal Vortex is how long they want to stay down there, and then Teeny and Chap. I feel like their time limit is
Tak
how much
Queasy
surge
tam
they
asi
currently
nejde
have.
chillujou.
Do you have the luxury to wait in there, or do you have to kind of build one of these towers like you see Queasy and Thomas in order to get your own damage? Not too far off of where they start towards Mount Olympus. Definitely have kind of handled a lot of the struggles that they had up until this point. They just need to be able to push themselves over the top, played to that full potential. 140 points, great spot on the leaderboard where they're currently at. But you know Thomas, you know Queasy, never have these guys placed outside of the top 10 in an FNCS.
I know, I'm getting good feelings with Thomas and Queasy. They haven't completely popped off yet, but they're getting closer and closer, Jacob. And the good news is with 2 days of
Tak stop
competition,
5 s tím žijou
6
všichni.
more matches to be played out tomorrow.
Zatím teda.
3 more today, including this one. I think this could be one of the duos that potentially will take home that Axe of Champions.
Hey, they got as good a shot as any. And the way Mount Olympus has
Vím, znám no. To mě trošku štve, že Pajus streamuje. Protože mi tady je ta konkurence, no. Je to takový blbý, no, že on, když původně jsem zapínal, já jsem nevěděl, že on to streamuje taky. Pak jsem zjistil, že to streamuje taky, no. Má tam 250 lidí a tady mám jednoho člověka. Takže to je docela takový nepříjemný, no.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. The potential of that back and forth hasn't been happening too much today, but there's still a lot of time. As now the separation has come through from both duos. Nothing too risky on either side. Just 18 seconds till third zone closes and fourth appears, so we'll see them make their way closer and closer into the zone here. But Cringe and Noms once again. It's non-stop action
Tady
for this
fajtí.
duo.
To jsou ty, co jsou první teď fajtí.
Yeah, they're ready to take a challenge after challenge. And you can see they're so far away from their original landing spot of that.
To děkuju.
So they went hunting for good positioning and they ran into cheap.
Kámo, že to Pajus ten stream vypne třeba.
Have to go far from the original drop spot of the underworld. And Cheap's Turtle, one of the teams that has pulled out at least one VR throughout the qualification.
Z Česka na YouTube to nestreamuje asi nikdo.
That they have the blueprint down packed, especially when it comes to those set lobbies. But now when you're playing against the best of the best, all stacked in one lobby, this is where you get put to the test.
Zibaniak gonna choose to separate a little bit. Both sides of the ridge have eyes on them now, but you can even see on the mini map the only duos that are in the surrounding area are quite far. So it looks like they're kind of planning where they're gonna take this launch pad to.
Ne, z Česka to streamuje jenom Pajus a já.
They have the inventory
To tak vypadá.
to get max height on that launch pad. Combine the wings of Icarus, you combine the Flowberry Fizz, you launch off that launch pad, and you kind of get your pick of the litter of literally exactly where you want to land. And if the zone does pull in this direction, I think that will be a huge blessing for these guys to be able to maintain that.
Pixie fajtí, prosím, ať Pixie umře. Ne, nefajtí, škoda.
100%. Pixie walks though. In between, what, 3-4 different duos? Maybe even more? As some of them start to disengage here at the underworld, but the good news is they're making use of their time here, refarming their break. Almost have cap materials if they can max up their break here. We'll see where this zone does pull, but so far it looks like nobody in this area wants to take shots at each other.
He's not just yet. Probably just a little too early in some scenarios. Queasy and Thomas kind of back to where
Jo, v pohodě, v pohodě.
Tak
děkuji, že tady byl, hele. Ty, co tady nacvičil, ty co tak v zóně, ty jo. Ale mají surge hodně. Jo, dobře, tak to děkuju, děkuju.
Sohan and Trash, 90 below here. Good news is being in the underworld, you do have that river of sticks that gives you those dashes to kind of move themselves quickly around the surrounding area and potentially even find some other players that might trade shots with them. But as the clock's ticking, They're getting more and more below. Already 141. Goes back to 83, but they've just got 18 seconds until Storm Surge will start ticking, so they've really got to do something soon. And look at that, Jacob, the combo with the wings of Icarus once again. Getting a huge amount of damage, but it's not enough.
Yeah, really catching a lot of players off guard in this finals. It's just not something you've scrimmed against, not something you practice against. You even got the Thunderbolt of Zeus coming in from different directions, forcing Trash and Zohan to just not get the Storm Surge that they wanted, and now they're falling further and further below that damage threshold. Even though they do have their eyes on the Cheeps and Turtles, they're not really going to get the opportunity. Zohan's finally going to get knocked by Cringe, who now re-enters into the mix. Him and Noms are able to clean up that elimination fully, get the loot. Even though they're pressured momentarily, they have very little to worry about. Now that they got a huge refresh, they get the materials, and they're 550 damage above the Surge threshold.
Trash not only getting ticked by Zone, getting pushed as well by Cheep and Turtle. Cringe and Noms, though, know exactly what happened, and they're hungry for a little bit of the pie. Shot comes through, nothing big connected.
You've seen the Storm Surge really dictating the way a lot of these players are going to play. Psycho and Voltiax are able to catch out Stacey, take him down altogether. Podicide trying to survive, but he gets taken down all the same. The gentlemates weren't handled so gently in that last fight.
Tak to teď klesnou dost, jako.
Down before placements.
Fishcz and Trip. Still just 9 below the Storm Surge threshold. The good news is they do have a lot of players in the surrounding area. Andalex and Sado even looking like they're a little desperate as well with their edits they're doing on the cone. So there should be opportunities here to get tags. With that Thunderbolt of Zeus, Fishcz here might try and pull something off.
Yeah, typically it's Fishcz and Trippin'. Even Trulex and Chicho, they like to spot out some of these sky bases in the distance. They use the quick window, trying to cover as much as possible. None of those shots realistically able to bleed through, but Fishcz, you got to give him at least an A for attempting something like that, especially since he's 24 damage below the threshold.
I love how he lined it up too. 2 boxes up, 1 little window, full safety while throwing those Thunderbolts, and it looks like he might just look for one more.
At least some damage is going to hit. Whether if it's 11 or 1, being above the damage threshold is where you want to be, but instantly they fall right down below 26, back where they began. But Volko, Vortexes, they're the ones on the other side that have to meet their maker. First one's going to get dropped. Volko goes down very, very easy to Fishcz and Trippin', and they have the choice here. Now that they got all the loot, they got the elimination and the damage for Surge, do you keep going or do you disengage now that you're just getting taken out by Storm? Each second you last is going to be less health they're able to leave with.
Big question. As you can see, how many players are getting affected by the Storm Surge as those lightning bolts come from the sky. Benno Tayson being one of the duos, but all they need is one quick shot. Cherry is down below. Can Benno connect the shot though, as players from afar are still continuing to apply pressure? No shot's been connected yet. They've lost so much shield already. Just not being able to get that one tag.
Now one tag is just causing them so much commotion. Finally, he's able to get one on the tail, even spotting video out on the other, just trying to keep on increasing that Storm Surge. They're in such an okay position to stagger themselves back and get the Surge, but it has to be worth it. You have to at least get it at the minimum.
Good news. Like I mentioned earlier, being in this part of the map, you can rotate a lot quicker with that river of sticks, even though Reason was unable to do so. Everyone having those dashes also just allows for a majority of the duos to get positioned where they want to quicker. Thomas HT and Queasy being one of the duos, kind of just taking shots at everybody that's rotating in, but Benno now looks like they found it. The shots they so desperately needed has put them 70 above, but how long are they going to be comfortable with that?
I like the way he's just taking opportunities and not really backing down from a challenge. That's something that you have to do in moments like this for Benno and Tayson. Be persistent, not really give up on the chase. Two of the greatest players in all of Fortnite. They know exactly how to handle pressure from all directions. Yanis and Flixie, they're the ones that are in their line of sight. Voltiax and Psycho Cool, same ones feeling that pressure outside of the zone, trying to make their way in.
135 above, drop down to 106, continuing to look for those angles. As now you got to be careful, the pressure's on them. It's Yanis who's looking to get in. All it's going to take is one shot.
A jen si asi dead.
Flixi as well following shortly after. Both players now just on the borderline of getting eliminated to Surge. Benno though is just holding strong, not even taking shots yet, as he knows if he allows them to get damage, it could be what saves them.
No. Tak Benno Tyson jsou v zóně.
They're gonna desperately need to continue to hold their position because there's gonna be teams all around them trying to break into
No, tu ty jsou druhý.
He's feeling some of that same pressure on the other side, but they're ready for a challenge. They've been practicing. They've been progressively building that momentum here throughout the day, and I don't think there's gonna be very many teams that can stop them when they're on this hot streak.
Definitely not. But what might just stop them is damage dealt. So many players on the borderline. You can see how difficult it is in grand finals. It's no qualifier or semis. This is the hardest lobbies to get damage in, and a significant amount.
It's good for them, even though they're falling below the damage threshold. They're consistently doing just enough, landing one shot here, two shots there, a couple more, trying to bleed through on V and Riss, who's also getting targeted out by a whole nother team, and that's what you get when you're Swizzy and Vanyak, and you build yourself into this position. You're able to kind of target everybody else that doesn't have that same advantage as you do. Even if you don't get the elimination, you kind of force them into tough spots with their backs up against the zone.
Zone has pulled northeast here, quite far from almost every duo in the lobby. So now they will be forced to rotate. The good news is, during these rotations, it's going to open up chances to take shots. Will they align is the big question, though. It's Swizzy now. Mix of shots from afar, mix of up close and personal. Going to be able to finish off the knock here as well. It's going to be a good amount of damage. 271 above now, as they'll have to make their way to zone.
Yeah, it's just one of those situations to where you've been persistent throughout the entirety of this end game, and now you get to reap the rewards and really not having to worry about Surge as this game does progress, because there's not too many players that need to go down from zone to zone before it turns off altogether. And the last time we see Seti and Cammy with the high ground, it was stolen away from them late in the game. Let's hope they can learn from those mistakes and really come out with a huge VR.
The zone gets smaller and smaller. The pressure just keeps on weighing down the shoulders of these players. Tayson's already lost Venno. He's forced to try and hold on. Will he try and pick him back up? Will he just let him go? Pressure from the sides. I'm trying to think if one of the duos knows or who got that knock. Will they continue applying the pressure? Tayson might just be able to pick up Venno here. This could be huge.
Yeah, this could be a big moment for them. And I like the way he assessed the situation before instantly trying to go for that revive, knowing that anybody around any corner can hear with the audio visuals that revive coming out and try to attack. And that's why everybody here is proactively trying to get prepared for this next rotation. Majority of the lobby does have the front side of the zone, but there are a few players
Tak kdo na tom high groundu tam? 10 s kamem.
5 seconds and the rotate.
No jasně, že jo. Tak ty jedou dobrý high, jo.
It's Cammy and Seti. Looks like they want high ground this game. The zones have pulled in their favor. Now they just need to maintain it. They have the water-bending mythic, so they can continue raining down from above. But they're still 9 below. They need to start connecting these shots.
Yeah, not necessarily too worried. Cammy does have that water-bending ability that we've seen terrorize so many teams from above in games past. Sky and Scroll definitely picking up the pace throughout the last couple games, and Tayson and Venno staying ahead of the curve every step of the way, from the left side of the zone to the right side of the zone, knowing which rotation to make to go on the safe side.
Thomas down. Queasy once again left as a solo. Just 30 above, forced to connect at least 1 or 2 shots here with the SMG. The zone keeps closing though. Playing as a solo, it's more difficult to go ahead, especially if you're not too healthy on materials. Good news is, Queasy has 27 builds. This should be more than enough to get him at the zone, but another solo that's clutching it up is Tayson.
Yeah, top 10 positions for both of these players in solo is going to be huge for consistency on the leaderboard, but Tayson goes down. Queasy, he's trying to make his way in towards the zone, but he goes down as well. Both Chap and Marius get credit for both of those eliminations, even though they're on separate teams. They know exactly what it takes to reach the top.
Titans taken out of the game as Swizzy knocks down another. Noms gets fully eliminated. Vanyak and Swizzy now up to 5. There's
Oni zabili super teď.
the zone closer to mid ground, but are they're gonna choose to change it up. Wings of Icarus once again conserving their materials as they look up, start chopping down height.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big moment for them with Seti and Cammy.
Prosím, je Seti dead.
They try to figure out a way to hold on to the backside of the zone. It cost them everything.
Cammy taky umírá.
Swizzy coming through, and now they are the leaders. They are the kings on top of high ground.
Oni budou mít první, oni budou první, tuty. Merstač klačuje, jo. On zmatkuje strašně, on zmatkuje. On je dead. Tyjo, tak co dělal? Kam je dead? Super, to mám radost. Tuty jsou nějaký randomové, ty ani nevím, jak se tam dostali, tyjo. Káž, ty hrajou nejvíc náhodně, tohle duo, ty jsou úplný randomové, jako. Ty přijde tam úplně uklikávají, jako. On furt je Trulex, no to ne. Ne, Trulex musí umřít. Proč furt je? Nice, oni pušou tu ty. Skryl se Skym. Tak random duo oni. A oni zabili randomové. Můj Marius ještě žije, nice. Tak jsou dead. Hej, co to je za random? Je to ZNN. Jsem v životě nevěděl. Ale tu ty mají win. A budou první v tabulce, nejspíš. Trulex dead, nice.
Looking to rain down from above as the low ground duo is getting stuck in the dirt here. They need to break through previous builds to make it into the zone, and Marius might just be on the other end here as he continues to build.
Co to je za lidi tohle? Busohlechis. Brawl Stars, jo. Tak ty mají win tu ty. Nemají. Mají. Tak to nakonec dali oni. Takže to bylo první teď v tabulce, FNCS. Tak to je dobře, tyjo, zahráli. To hráli pěkně, tyjo, tuhle hru. Jako ty mají dobrou strategii, tyjo. Čau, 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 čau. Tak co tohle bylo za hru, tyjo. Jako dominou docela. To je dobře, toho Seti ho tady podkopal. No a tohle, to jsem v životě nevěděl, že by někdo dělal, a on prostě nalítnul. O, mám to nedali, tyjo. Swizzy to docela klačnul, ale jako pěkně. Pěkně, pěkně. Tak vás si s dovolením stlumím na chvilku. A pojďme se podívat na tabulku. Tak, jaká je tabulka po čtvrté hře? Swizzy Vaněk první, mají 2 winy, tyjo, pěkně. Ty jedou jako dobře. To oni ani jednu hru neskazili, oni jedou. Tu jako jedou na konzistenci docela. Ale furt není tam velký rozdíl. Pak nějaký randomové. Kam se ty čtvrtý, jaj. To se mi vlastně nelíbí. Kvízy Thomas AG 5, pěkně. Nejvíc random duo Scroll se Skym 6. Kam snad asi fandím, to ty. Chico s Trulexem 7, bohužel, to se mi vůbec nelíbí. Tu ty randomové vůbec nevím, kdo to je, v životě jsem o nich neslyšel. 8. Rezonvadal 9. Pixie 11. Yes, zkazil to pěkně, 27. Nice. Za tuhle hru 0 bodů, krása, jen tak dál. Tyson s Venem 14. No nedaří se jim. Malibuka s Merstačem to teď docela comebacknuli. 8. Docela klačnuli. Patary je dál. 32. tuty. A je škoda. Janis 39. 20 bodů. No tak tím se to taky vůbec nedaří. No. Zajímavá tabulka. Jako... A vypadá to, že bude asi jako... Souboj dneska o první místo mezi Svizim a Vaňákem proti Nomzovi a Karinjovi. O, jmenuje se Wave Cringe Aim 7. A Venom s Aim 7. Těžko říct. No bože, kam se to nějak jako zkazí, jo? Ty se mi vůbec nelíbí na tom 4. místě. To je dost vyrovnaný. No jsem zvědavý, no, jak to? Další hru, jak to půjde. Kde je poslední? Pěkně. Jako chudáci jenom mají 0 bodů. Zajímavý. Tak co panám tady říkají? Yes, Pixie za tohle hru 0 bodů, tak skvělý. Malibuka se posunul dost.
We last saw Mustache in that game as a solo trying to clutch it out, and unfortunately wasn't able to survive the chaos. But do we think that this is a duo that has the chance to really defend their Major 1 title by the way that they're playing so far, Levin?
I mean, by the way they're playing so far, maybe not, right? Because as we've seen, the mid games and end games, they just look so stretched. Everything looks very scuffed. They're struggling with Surge. They don't have much loot. By the time you get to end game, or by not much loot, I mean much mats, right?
Tak za minutu nám začíná 5. hra, předposlední.
The reality is for these guys though, is again, I hate to harp on this. 2-day format, 1.5x points tomorrow. If tomorrow they just start having a couple of those typical Malibuka Mustache games.
Kamo zase, on mluví a ty jedna se směje a druhý prostě kejve hlavou. Kamo vždycky. Teď mluví on. Tuto se směje. Sandla je neutrální. Nekejve hlavou. Tahle kejve hlavou.
Why don't we just land on Grimgate? Why not give it a go for a couple of games, particularly when the points are 1.5 times in placement and eliminations? They're sort of susceptible to getting that team landing on them, maybe multiple teams or maybe teams third-partying in, so it's quite risky for them, and of course having a bad day one is not working out, not going to work out.
Jak s tím komentátorem taky.
I figured that the panic button might be pushed by you, Mini Miner, and I also wanted to ask if you were also considering pushing it for Tayson and Berno.
I mean, it was a team that I said would win. Not too panicked yet, because of course they still have a long way to go.
Yeah, they really do. Meanwhile, Levin, you got a little smug little grin on your face, mate, because Seti and Cammy doing quite well.
No, it's way too early to speak. Way too early to speak.
It's true. He's such a clever young man, isn't he? This one, biding his time to lord it over us all. We've got 2 more games tonight, so let's head into game number 5 with Takata and Jacob.
Thank you so much, and I'd be surprised
if
you didn't think Swizzy and Vaniak would show up and show
Kamo, co to má typek za plastivní sluchátka, prostě nepochopím, co to je. Ten typek tady s headsetem. A ten typek tady prostě fuck off.
Ooh, Levin said it best. It's too early to tell, especially with tomorrow.
Pátá hra, let's go.
5x points. Anything can still change up on the leaderboard. Day 2 is where we'll truly see everything unfold. Back at Lavish Lair, though, Cringe and Noms once again in a quick head-to-head.
Yeah, and Cringe and Noms are one of those teams. They're not going to split the loot. They don't want to give half of Lavish Layer on and then worry about where they're going to get their loot elsewhere during their loot path. They're a team that wants to make sure this team knows, hey, if you're going to land here, only one of us will make it out alive to finish this game out. And Cringe and Jake, you see them slowly but surely not taking the same aggressive spots on that drop. It shows a little bit of a sign of weakness in my eyes.
That was HD Queasy. Still triple con, but once again, have their initial drop pretty uncontested, a freedom to loot a little bit before getting into the action. Last game, they basically got gifted an elimination as they came in for the third party. Will it happen again, though? I don't think the duos want to replicate that.
Yeah, I think a couple of these duos taking different spots this time around, including Queasy and Thomas, kind of switch things up, which kind of changes up the whole dynamic of that drop spot in the fight altogether. Fight that isn't going to switch up is going to be this one. Like I said, Cringe and Noms, they just want to prove their dominance here. 278 points so far in second place. And the games that they've had have been phenomenal. 8th, 4th, 2nd. Their worst game is a 13th with 6 elims. Like,
Ciao, vítej.
To say is your worst game.
I mean, it's insane. In terms of consistency, it is unreal. But it's difficult to keep that up. If anything, though, they can make it happen. But as that engagement continues, we can see what else is going on around here. Hidden in the bush, Jacob.
Ty on se schová v buši, ani neví.
No shots need to be shot here. He does not want to give away his position.
No, nebyl by, on se prozradil. On se prozradil.
Oh, do they know? Look at the minimap.
Co to udělal?
The arrow eclipse pointing as the prey is now being hunted.
On se, proč tam nepočkal ještě chvíli?
But you got to give him an A for at least the effort. Let's see how he's able to stay alive, and we'll grade that one as Eclipse and Dexy just seem to be hot on the chase, even making him kind of tear off the side of the mountain. Noms and Cringe, they were at least able to get one elimination so far, and that's where you're seeing a lot of these early game skirmishes that have been drawn out, taking some time. They're getting quicker and quicker to the finish.
Continuing to hunt now in the 2v1. Upper hand for Cringe and Noms. All they got to do is continue chasing here. Not a lot of freedom for their opponent. As the white tag comes through, confidence rises. We got to be careful.
Nice, tak tu ty máš zase landing.
It's going to be Noms that secures it.
What's great is that's almost like 8 free points. Anytime that team lands at free points, free surge. Obviously, it'll shake things up if they actually go down off spawn, because especially if it happens tomorrow and those 1.5 point multiplier, that's when things can come coming down. And then you also have that day to prepare, look back at a lot of the VODs, figure out what went wrong, figure out what went right, try to replicate the successes while minimizing the mistakes.
Tak splash docela salt, jako.
Do you keep it going day 2 and just try and kind of adapt at the same drop spot, or do you switch it up? It's a tough decision you have to make.
Even seeing teams like this, Vocal and Vortexers, they're switching things up. Really haven't had the best start to the day so far, even though there's 2 games left. It's not too late to just switch up where you're landing altogether, or just engage out of a fight right out of the gates. And as we tune in, Veno, Tayson, they already have a knock on the POTA side, which is quickly cleaned up by Veno. And they see where Snazy's at, so you know Tayson and Veno strapping up their laces because they're ready to go on the chase.
It's not going to last too long. As Tayson now drops right onto Snazy's head. 2 shots being connected. Quick, clean. Way to finish it off.
Quick and easy. Talked about possibly pressing the panic button for a team like this. I feel like it's only a matter of time before they become online, start creating some consistency, and go back to the team and players that you know they can be, perform at the highest level. And this is kind of a replay of the first one getting taken down and Tayson cleaning up Snazy back to back on M8.
Vico Pink up against CZB Nathan in the Grand Glacier. Haven't seen too many engagements since the first matches around here. But it looks like Vico and Pink They want to get those tags. They want that damage. But if the zone closes, they might be forced to move a little bit.
And this is a team I felt like we were going to definitely see at the top of the leaderboard, especially with how insanely consistent they've been. Not just the qualifiers weeks 1 and 2, but how insanely they were consistent throughout the semifinals as well. I didn't really see them having as many struggles as they had. Third place.
Hele, jako jestli myslíš FNCSK, jo, mě baví jako turnaje obecně.
But if a team, any team can take fire late in the final day of today and kind of start that momentum for tomorrow, it is going to be pink and VK.
To já jsem tady většinou času sám, je takový trošku blbý, ale... A jinak jako, jestli myslíš jako FNCSK, jako Cup takhle, tak to mě baví, no. Jako nejde, čemu jsem tam hrál, ale...
I'm excited to see a little bit more of this early game from Swizzy and Vanny. I kind of see what they're doing. You see them kind of leaving Mount Olympus, which means they had an early rotation out of Brawler Battlegrounds. Throughout the day, you have seen almost a must carry out of this team and some others of the Wings of Icarus. And then they kind of have the Flowberry Fizz.
Upřímně si myslím, že tu vyhrajou to FNCSK.
Flowberry Fizz gives them two options. You use it regularly, as normally everybody does, or you combine it with the Wings of Icarus to cover more ground much quicker.
Marius left as a solo once again. Being forced to do anything he can. 169 effective HP and shield up against Cheap and Turtle. But I got faith in Marius here. I'll keep it a buck, Jacob. I think he can make it happen. They are in 12th place on the leaderboard.
Hele, kolik hraje na amerických serverech, ten bude teprve hrát asi, jestli se dostal. Ten bude hrát, hele, někdy asi od 11 večer, myslím, jinak tak. Možná od půlnoci teprve. Ten hraje na jiných serverech.
As he changes directions very quickly, trying to keep his opponents on their toes. Back into the dashes, dips a toe in, and this is going to be his biggest chance to try to create as much distance as possible. Last dash going to be out. Marius, he's doing a good job of creating so much space. I got to give him so much credit for this.
No, si pak dobře zdrháte, jo.
But the hunt is going to continue, Jacob. He's not done yet. The mission isn't over. He starts swimming further and further.
Marius kráva.
This is going to be a long run. I mean, either he hits an insane snipe, or eventually they're going to catch up, and they're going to have to take that fight.
It's almost like that.
Clicks.
Where players that land the underworld commonly
Jsem asi splet s někým jiným, ale Clicks tady nehraje.
Towards the left, Cheeps and Turtle following him on that same cut towards the left. And they just, I think they lost him. I think they finally lost him. Don't know exactly where he's at. You see,
Clicks bude hrát nejspíš za 2 hodiny teprve. A na amerických serverech.
Someone who might be looking to escape shortly. The Buell has lost Velvis, or Relvis, sorry. So we'll have to see how the escape continues.
It's only really a question of, does he have the reboot card? He did a good job of creating a space, creating distance. But if he doesn't have the reboot card, he's going to have to backtrack, go in that position. And even see just southeast of where he's kind of running to, that little gas station that is parked by.
Jo, Savage a Mongrel jsem dostal, tady vůbec nehrajou, ty se nekvalifikovali. Ty to zkazali úplně. Tady hraje jenom 50 týmů nejlepších a Mongrel se Savagem tam nedostali. Bylo by to funny sledovat, ale bohužel tam nejsou. A z Česka nebo Slovenska tam taky nikdo není. Což je dost škoda, no.
The Trexer is right there as the builds start coming through. He hears the footsteps now. The movement has just turned into a box fight.
Yeah, almost gets boxed up. Path cut off. Shield no more. He does have some left in the inventory. It's just about if he has the timing and the space to try to disengage from this opponent. And it does look like they're ready to go on the chase themselves. He finally makes it to get a couple more dashes, but so do his opponents. Dancing all around, dropped to just 13 HP, really not given an opportunity to try to survive, trying to create space. Eventually, he goes down to Trexer and Silly Seb. Forzen, they all enter the mix, and that's the thing. You hear the noise, you hear a lot of the fights, and you attempt to try to third party it.
Yeah, the commotion comes through, and it's an opportunity for the other duos in the surrounding area. Dexy Eclipse raining from above with that water-bending mythic onto Pixie and Walks, which are fully boxed up here with, it seems to be no interest of anything except for maybe a potential knockdown as I hear the shots coming through. They might want to break down these builds. Eclipse Dexy aware of this, popping a flow berry to evade that fall damage. It looks like just one more build needs to be edited here for it to get shot down.
Quickly protecting themselves as well. Pixie doing the right thing of creating space between him and the falling players. That achieves the high ground positioning for them, and they're ready to go ahead and continue to put that pressure down. But you see how careful they're actually being. Instead of entering into the fight, they're taking it layer by layer, piece by piece. And as Dexy and Eclipse fall down, Pixie and Walks slow to follow.
Looks like they want to continue though. Even though they did take height here, they're still looking for angles, still looking for shots. They know how important it could be, especially later on in this match. There's more than enough ammunition to spare. They're going to continue seeing if they can connect anything else.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the further down they go, you're almost trapping yourself with only one exit plan, and Dexy and Eclipse quickly find that porta potty to try to loop and exit out of there, and then almost gives them the free rotation side of the mountain. They're also going to get a chance to get those underworld dashes, so I think that's going to be a successful disengage out of that situation.
Interesting structure has been built here at Lavish. Shows how many spare materials there might be. As Noms is just going to be maybe taking a nap here as he waits for his opponents to leave and even the zones to pull further away.
Frizzy and Hallie, they're the ones that position just right outside. You see Axe Force in the distance along with his teammate. A lot of time to wait, especially since the zone is kind of in that position. So only hope he has is currently having the reboot card. As we take a look, another rotation from Queasy and Thomas. Game after game, they find themselves deep into the zone, trying to rotate on and out, scrabbing together to get any fallen loot, as you see, using the bandages, then the med kit. Just trying to get anything in your inventory that you can get your hands on. You see the foraged fruits and vegetables probably going to be next. They just have to be careful because right now they're separated reckless railways trying to get together some loot. They have CZB and as a third party potential ready to pounce if they don't catch them.
So is Ivaniak in first place, now also going to be the first duo to claim the Rift Island. Little extra loot, nice positioning. You can even see taking some tags through that bush bomb.
Good shots.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, do you think they have the medallion, or do you think they one of those teams that drop the medallion because they don't think it really does enough? It gives you extra damage for the scoped weapons, but I don't think it really does a ton of damage. So you think they're one of the teams that carry the medallion, because they don't want their position to be known?
Ale mají hodně search, no.
I wonder if it's like, you know, what do we feel in this game? Are we going to just play a bit more aggressive? Doesn't matter if we have the medallion, or maybe want to do a little sneaky, uncongested rotate. They can kind of decide, choose to their liking on how the match is looking. Camiseti, 531 damage above the threshold currently with that one elimination. They will combo the Flowberry Fizz plus a launch pad to now most likely pick the ideal rotate where they don't run into a lot of players as they have the freedom to do so.
Yeah, I expect them to hit one more launch pad along the way. It's like that little mountain just above towards the right side, but you see them, something that they used in the last game as well. They used the Flowberry Fizz, the late launch pads, because they are contested and have options around them to get that early surge. They're not looking for 500 right out of the gates. They're just looking for about 100, 200 surge so they can make rotations like this. But as we tune in, a team that's finding
Let's go through like jsem mrtvej na tak skvělý.
Once again separated as a solo.
Ještě Chico ať umře a jsem tyjon happy.
Rebooting this late in the match is incredibly difficult, so this might just be another solo game.
Jo, pojďte stříjte ho. Jo, prosím. Prosím.
Rezo, nezabij ho.
Sice tě moc nemusím, ale furt lepší, yes. A mají 0 bodů, krása. On dostal headshot snipe. A tu ty jsou druhý a on nemá teammatea. To bude Vaňák se Swissem docela jako asi mít náskok. To jako neočekám, že týpek to kolačne sám nějak. To já dost lidí z top 10 jde.
I think that team might have a little bit of inkling that somebody is floating around, especially little audio cues like that. Mappy and Kiro might not necessarily know that Noms is a solo, and you see him double checking, triple checking, peeking towards the outside. Anybody else slow to rotate in? And you almost have to take those extra couple seconds to be careful like that.
Ty třetí jsou dead.
There's extra set of eyes. At least for now, as Noms does
Cringe dead, no.
eye on her possible reboot.
A já vlastně nevím, co to je za týpky vůbec tohle. Nebo jako už jsem o nich nějak jako slyšel, jo, ale já nechápu, jak oni můžou být jako druhý.
And his duo partner, Seb, that are going to be looking to capitalize on the situation, but Noms quickly to build up and say, look, if you want to take this battle, I'm going to make it take a long time for you, so you better start running away.
And this is only just going to help Noms. If he can come out.
Kamu že on typek je sám, on tady jako vypíná duo. Že to jsou jako randomové nějak, nebo ne, že úplně randomové, ale jako tak jsou dead, no. Takže za tuhle hru mají 0 bodů. A jsou druhý. Ty, ale to taky jako nejsou úplně v ideální situaci. To jsou teď první, ale nejspíš jako zůstanou už jako po té hře. Kdyby teď byli dead. A oni pushujou tady. Jo, takže ty druhý to jsou nějaký Švýcarové. Ukaž, kolik mají? Aha, jeden má 5000 earnings a ten druhý má kolik? Taky 5000, hej, co to je za lidi? Jak můžou být druhý?
Making a comeback from that situation is almost impossible, but if anyone's gonna do it, it's those that have qualified to the grand finals. But with Swizzy and Vanyak being on the other end of that doorway, just a couple shots are gonna need to be landed here.
Great teamwork from them. Swizzy's just spraying one side of the build, forcing them to hold their position, hold their cover, while Vanyak is playing up, playing aggressive.
Ty, ale oni hrajou mega chytře s těma křídlama. Ale dostal ty triple dink.
A lot of materials have been forced to be used now. They will be able to recuperate what they lost, but
neříkám, že Pixie žije furt.
Refresh walks Pixie though.
Ne, ono. Ne, on Pixie žije, ale jsou Budou. Oni jsou dead. Mají 200 Budou. No tak nevím, komu to přát víc, Kamemu, Satimu nebo Pixiemu. Možná, no to nevím. Čus. Pixie dead, paráda. Sice, že je tak Kamesity, ale jsou dead taky. Ne, nejsou dead taky, bohužel, že jo. Čeho tam Pixie teammate přežil?
Forcing Walks to potentially make a mistake, and the more pressure they put on, it kind of displaces Walks in different boxes, different elevations. to where that's where they're hoping things do slip up. Seti, Cammy just died him a little bit into the storm, but that's just because they want to make that quick and easy rotation where virtually nobody has yet to make their journey on over there, except for the ones that have been blessed the zone.
Ooh, look at that though, Sky and Scroll. They're back in business, but with no shield. They need to make some sort of miracle happen here as they trail behind. Try and drop right into a duo, but it might just lead to their
Tak
demise.
Scroll se Skyem nejvíc random duo jsou dead.
Yeah, sometimes it looks like it's just
Asi jo, hele,
sailing
asi jo.
ahead. You can start to pounce, but just that additional angle, that 1 second lapse of judgment that really costs you in the end. And this is why it's important. You know, no matter how much pressure
Teď se poslední hra, pak dám poslední a pak bych mohl dát.
and they're just continuously taking it one step at a time, and they immediately push forward and then find themselves a
Tak to budu mít mega náskok asi.
po
té hře.
Je
Jelikož druhý a třetí už jsou dead. Určitě, hele, určitě můžeš. Tyjo, to kartu Malibuka žije. Tyjo, to nějak se mi nedaří vůbec. No, ale vyšla mu zóna. No, že Tyson s Venem žijou. A mají Budou.
But over a 120-point deficit before they catch up. Tyson Veno landing a couple of good shots to get them 151 above the damage threshold. It's one of the things I feel like have been ailing them from time to time up to this position of the game. They're down on Surge, forced to fight. So as long as they stay ahead of the curve in this game, I think they'll be well off.
Queasy, nice quick tag in the air. Thomas HD has to be careful. He's been knocked down. Now left alone as Pink gets cracked. Is he going to choose to play it slow here? Only 8 builds for Queasy. He really needs to find a refresh here.
Yeah, I think with Thomas going down, he has no choice but to play a little bit more passive. Even though he landed that good shot onto Pink, dropping the shields, dropping the HP. At least they got themselves a little bit of a crevice that they can hang on to, safe from the zone.
Ne, oni se diskem žijou. To ne. Když Poláci jen to ne.
Camiseti looking to take some shots before rotation. I believe they have more than enough damage, so right now it's all just extra. As players plan their rotate. Zone starts closing now. Vico Pink continue ahead. They have healed up now. Forced to use quite a bit of their Flowberry Fizz, but as they're grouped up, they're ready now to do more damage.
Yeah, this is one of the most consistent teams for a reason. They know how to get out of tough spots when it calls for it.
To je dost lidí furt, že?
In that last major, they put the contested to rest as they win it all while being contested. But Pink goes down. Vico by himself. Huge elimination can be found onto Mappy. Get credit for those points and even more for the placements as his team is fully taken down. But Vico, 163 damage above the threshold. Only has bandages to his name to recover some of that HP.
Takže žije furt.
Almost smooth sailing up until then to try to find his way.
Třeba se popuje bandáže v endgameu.
Crack down to 11, forced to pop the bandages now. Still has a Flowberry, so we can recuperate a bit of that shield, but he needs time. And with all the duos surrounding him, they're not giving him that time.
A on je dead, on je dead. Tak tam moc nevyužil toho. Že top 3 jsou všichni dead. To mi neříkej, že kam se tím to budou nahoře. Nice headra, Francouzi jsou mrtví, paráda. No furt kam se tím jsou, no to mi neříkej.
Vortex with Volko doing a good job of staying ahead and claiming low. Malabuka still up and running strong, 165 above, doing a good amount of damage as well as he gets ahead with the dash.
Yeah, quickly utilizing that medallion time and time again. That way he doesn't take too much damage. Almost threads the needle with a snipe right there. But Malabuka's persistence. If at first you don't succeed, you try again. Run to the backside of the zone, finding only 1 bandage. But it was a sacrifice that was well worth making for Malabuka as he quickly in safety yet again.
Queasy taking down
Tyson.
Benno now left alone as Queasy goes down. Cammy.
Prosím, Kami, umře, prosím. Kami, ne. Ať to nedá. Angel má všechno. Že ten je špatný ten. Jako jsou tady strašně random hráči, nebo taky, nebo Malibuka tady ty oklačuje, jasný.
Malibuka though, one shot away from taking out Gira.
Dobře jede.
Gets the knock, claims the elim as well now. Materials have been recuperated, but there's duos in sight. He has to be careful.
Quick thinking to dash inside of the zone to land the shot.
Proč ten Kamin furt žije? Ne, yes. Vortex, jo. Nový žony v endgame. Ale je pravda, že tohle FNCS malnuli strašně randomy, jo, jako.
The high ground, but they're not looking healthy. Eclipse, just a sliver of HP. Meanwhile, Volko, Vortexers looking very healthy.
Man, they were one of the strong teams, mini miners favorites, but instantly the curse happens. They go down. One's left with just a sliver of HP, trying to survive the onslaught from Velry and Firehunter as they continue to smoothly move through this end game as they go down to the ultimate low ground and bring it down to
tak to dá.
2v2. Dexy and Eclipse.
Jako ty na háji mají všechno, že jo? No, i když nemají. No, to nemají. Takže kdo to vyhrál? To bylo kdo to vyhrál? To bylo co zase za lidi?
They were looking so healthy up on the high ground, but Chapantini said we want a piece of that pie. The battle broke out and it led.
Kamo, co to je za lidi prostě? Vejry, nějaký random rusák. O tu těch typkách jsem v životě neslyšel. Vůbec nevím, kdo to je. Dobrý, tak asi slovím zase. Čusík. Hele, on byl v Malibuka, že v jiném týmu a pak nejspíš mu asi skončila smlouva. A joinul jiný tým. Spíš jakoby jiný tým ho to. Mu dal nejspíš asi lepší smlouvu. A přijmul je. Většinou jako se nekopujou ty hráči, spíš jakoby, že když jim skončí smlouva, tak jako je třeba nabídne jiný tým nebo to. Tak jak to je po pátý hře. Takže po pátý hře máme Svizi Vaňák první. Pohodový 50bodový náskok. Tu ty randomov, švýcarský randomové, který mají německou vlajku. A jsou to Švýcaři. Druhý, no nevím, mají oba dva 5000 earnings. Nechápu, co tam dělají. Kam se ty bohužel třetí, no, to je špatný. Jo, když hraje kapy, nebo myslím, že třeba nějaký hráči mají, že třeba podle toho, že když tady třeba cashnou, že třeba $1000, takže 5% z toho dají jako ty organizaci, nebo takhle. To záleží na těch podmínkách. Thomas HG Kvízy 5. Scrollsky tak random duo. Jsou 6. Dobře. No, Trulex 7, no to není moc pěkný. Doufám, že to nějak zkazí ještě víc. Mrstač Malibuka, to ani jednou nebyli spolu v endgame, ale z nějakého důvodu jsou 9. Tyson Veno 11. To je to tak nějak jako hrajou konzistentně, ale špatně. Rezen Vadal 12. Nedaří se jim moc. Dali 2 hry a pak už nic. Pixie 16. Krása. Jen tak dál, Pixies. Kaž to, co nejvíc můžeš. Jinak já se omlouvám, že to komentuju strašně jako zaujatě, jo, ale prostě já se omlouvám. Kde jsou sami no-namey? Tu ty dva furt poslední. Kancipci prostě furt oměli off-spawn. 33 sekund alive jako. Kam to ani nevyskočil z Battle Passu pomalu. Takže to je poslední hra. Jakoby, aby to třeba tu někde je předběh ty první. S vizio s baňákem, aby někdo předběh, tak... Nevím, tak asi... by tu ty museli umřít na landing. A... tu ty švýcarský randomové by museli dát... dobrý place nějak. Ale oni nejsou dobrý, že? Oni tam prostě... nedokážou, podle mě. Jako oni měli dobrý place, jo, 8, 4, 2, 13 je pak tady jako zkazali, jo, ale... Jako je rozdíl, když tady typek má prostě, nevím kolik, má třeba 50 000 jako a ten na 5, jo. Ok. Tak uvidíš třeba, jo, ale... Je tu ještě někdo takový zajímavý? Tady bývalý Hutyho duo, nebo spíš jako jeden Cap s ním hrál. Hedra. Nedaří se jim moc. Fast Rocket. To je Hutyho kamarád tohle, 24. Takže, Pixie to musí zkazit. Trulex to musí zkazit. A tady se ty s Kamem. To jsou 3 dua, který nechce, by vyhráli. Jo, Savage a Mongrel nepostoupili, no, ty nekvanuli, bohužel. Bylo by to sranda je sledovat, ale nedali to, no, škoda. Jako přímě si myslím, že ty NFNC dneska vyhráli. Jako dneska už nejspíš budou první a pokud to zítra nějak jako neskazí. Když jako... Pokud to zkazí, tak jako nemají nic, no vlastně jistý. No, což dává smysl, ale jako... Ale oni hrajou fakt dobře ty. Ty už jako ty minulou season, ty FNCS jako hráli dobře, no. Jen to, jim to moc nevyšlo. Tak co povědej tady tu ty. Komu zase jeden typek mluví, tady zase směje ten typ kejve hlavou. On zase nemluví. Jo, teď se směje tenhle. Tenhle. Kámo, nevím, co dělá ani. Kámo, tenhle, ten jeho smích, ten je úplně... Máme tady pane komentátory. Tak a poslední hra teď. To děkuju, to si vážím.
That's the crucial part, right? Seeing kind of what you can change up in that little time frame you have between today and tomorrow.
Jo, dám po té hře. Teď je poslední hra, pak dám.
We'll get more points just from elims and placements, but the battle bus is ready. Let's get into the last game of the day.
Tak, poslední hra. Wow, dobrá tabulka, to tam neměli předtím. Co tady ukážou i lamy, kde se spawnujou. Tady je jedna, tady je druhá, je třetí. To tady zase 4 dua, že se jim to vyplatí, tyjo, takhle. Ne, 3 dua tady jsou. Kam že Sky se Skrlem to vyhrajou, to jsou fakt tak nejvíce rebootlý duo. It's instant action right off the drop. This guy's choosing carefully what angles he looks to pursue. Streamuje furt?
Taking his time.
Just tak.
Slowly but surely dropping down more and more, and because they're just dropping down from above, they're giving him almost an easy path to follow. First shots in, but unfortunately enough, they're able to get the shields off just in time, and they're keep popping that Flowberry Fizz. That was a great opportunity for Scry. Unfortunately, him and Scroll are just not able to really capitalize on it just yet.
Yeah, 24 damage. Did not get as much damage as he would have liked from that initial shotgun shot. So now they're just going to go back to looting and take this engagement later.
Yeah, I thought I saw on the feed that Cringe and Jake Buka actually went down earlier than we would think, and it's
Prosím, že Trulex umřel.
that you wouldn't guess because they're no longer
Nah.
that Lavish Layer. They try to take the challenge to Trulex and Chicho.
Ach jo.
Unfortunately enough, it's going to be the same fate, and a
Už
big
jsem
start
myslel.
for Trulex and Chicho.
They shut them down quickly. Actually, last game we talked about it. You know, when you keep getting elimed off spawn.
Ale oni všichni líbnuli levěž, oni nás jsou sami teď.
Looks like 5 games was the number for that. In the 6th game, they decided to change it, but did not go their way. Good news is now they'll have a bit more time to kind of pick their right path for tomorrow. But Chicho and Trulex, they might not be done yet.
Not just yet, but we might not even see the Thunderbolt of Zeus in the distance. They do have the Flowberry Fizz, so not really worried about taking fall damage. Just try to create some separation between them and Silly Seb and Forzen. He was trying to sneak up and take advantage of a third-party opportunity. But Trulex and Chicho, they're not going to fall for that bait.
I mean, they're happy with those 2 elims already off the start. They don't need much more. They just want to start farming up, recuperate their mats, and get more loot. So they will continue just making their way more towards the center.
Nerezon solo.
Kind of moving on over towards Reckless.
Není dobrý.
What it seemed like there for a moment. Reason and Vidil just outside of Mount Olympus. Kind of see their inventory as well. Not necessarily the most heals in the world, but they're definitely setting themselves up where they can kind of contest the bunker like we've seen them in some of the earlier games going up against Queasy and Thomas. Just all depend if that bunker is going to spawn in, because there's 9 different bunkers on the map and only 6 of them actually do spawn in.
You can see though, Reason and Vidil are just split up, taking their own paths here, whether it be looting. I assume it's looting. I was gonna say maybe if Vidil's just.
No a zítřek bude zajímavý, no. To máš vlastně asi dvojnásobný body.
Trying to see if something changed up here at Mount Olympus. I don't see any elims on Queasy Thomas. I see 1 duo, but I wonder if the other one switched locations.
I feel like a couple of those early games have really forced a huge thought process around a lot of the duos landing towards Mount Olympus. How important is it to really kind of 50-50 fight it all out right out of the gates, especially in Game 6 where you see yourself on the leaderboard and it might not be where you want it to be or even expected. So you almost want to change up early, a game before tomorrow, and start to plan something else underneath their sleeve, as Pink and Vico look like to be the aggressors here against Blaha and Comic. Pink, just a little bit of damage, forced further and further back before he's actually dropped down altogether.
Uh-oh, gotta be careful now. Pink forced to make a clutch happen, the 1v2, but he might just be him. Comeback.
Tak co, jestli dá to sám? Proti dvou.
Land his shots here. He needs to connect if he wants to win the 1 versus 2.
Hey, I feel like if anybody's made for something like this, it could be either one of these 2 teams on the duo. You see the Flowberry Fizz, Legendary Banana. He's just trying to cover as much distance as quickly as he can to try to disengage out of the spot.
Tak zdrhá, no.
Trying to continue to go up that mountain. There is a launch pad up there if he can make it towards the other side, but he is just getting tagged up left and right. The Flowberry Fizz, the same thing he's using to try to escape is the same thing that's giving that line of sight on over to Blaha and Comeback.
Zdrhnul dobře daleko.
Line of sight onto Vico, but it looks like he might have just made it out, and I don't think the pursuit is worth it any longer. Or is he gonna actually take the launch pad? No way, right? No way they chase up that deep into Storm.
Just say nah, but...
Or do they?
We'll find out later on this episode of FNCS. But
Marius now?
Yep. I like to see them both alive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's duo partners up, so this is an improvement from the previous matches. Hopefully, though, they can keep that improvement going and pick up a couple elims.
It does look like they Zohan and Trash. It's just a matter, did they see them back?
Ready na ovocný zážitek.
Komu to jako vážně má Fortnite na Twitchi reklamu, jo? To jako potřebují mít reklamu, jo, oni. Tak to jsou dobrý teda. To bych od Fonka neřekl, jo.
Yeah, he gets cracked as well. Good news is the third party has come to save the day from Marius and Sangil as he gets a bit of time now to recuperate all that shield that he'd lost. Almost found an opportunity, but this has just turned into a 2v2v2.
Yeah, just a lot of commotion going down. You really have to pick and choose, and there's even a fourth team, a fifth team entering into the mix, going in this direction. I think Glebshy and Trexer give a huge distraction for Trash and Zohan to just disengage on out. You see Dexy and Eclipse over from Rebel's Roost. They didn't get the damage they wanted off of spawn, so a lot of these teams, as they switch up their strategies, their drop spots, and their overall loot path, is forcing other teams to switch it up as well if they want that same surge.
It was almost looking like Turtle Wars, packed with the amount of duos that were boxed up with each other fighting. Noms, Deja Vu, I've seen him crouch behind this box before. Is that a piano, you think, box? Either way, actually, it's that sneak attack that he's looking for.
Play us a song, Noms. Maybe a couch dresser.
Yeah, I was gonna say a couch.
Hey, you know, you gotta give Noms and Cringe so much credit in the world, because that requires a ton of patience just to be able to sit there, not get overzealous, not just shoot some shots just to shoot some shots, knowing that you're gonna get very minimal.
Tak ty jsou aktuálně druhý a Fishcz tady v levější. S 38. Taky jsem jí randomové, tyjo. Jsem žádný neviděl. Ale oni jsou nejhorší. Co dělají?
Just the constant separation between the two. It's not costing them a lot, but definitely putting them on the back foot in more of a defensive position, which is not necessarily what we've seen from this duo, especially from their contested drop to start the day. They're one of those teams that they like to get the first shot. They like to start the fight with some damage, and then they kind of go from there.
They've actually been one of the duos that's most likely to land the first shot in their engagement, so could be a reason.
Tak 105 aktuálně žijou všichni.
Sky and Scroll standing quite strong so far, but like we mentioned earlier, day 2 is where it gets even more intense with the multiplier on the amount of points you get throughout the games. So right now it's kind of setting the stage for what's to come.
I think a win here for them, depending on obviously who finishes second, third, and so on. But a win here with a couple eliminations, I think will at least give them a 1-game lead going into tomorrow's format. Obviously, depends on how many eliminations, you know, double digits plus a win that you get in game 1. But I think they just need to kind of set themselves up, finish off the day strong. Because so far, every single game they've had but one has been in the top 10, including 2 first-place finishes.
The Buell having lost Relvis though, and being so far in zone with the duo close by, could lead to danger.
Že tady už je zóna, tady furt, jo. Typek sám a tam zvedle něho je duo.
And the thing that only worries me isn't necessarily how long he takes, but just the lack of heals that are all around. He's forced to get the fruits, the vegetables, the cabbage, the corn, anything that he can get his hands on for just small amounts of HP. So even if he does have the reboot carb, he almost has to go and travel into zone to get the reboot, because he realistically won't be able to out heal it. And kind of where he's going right now is just the top of the launch pad, Flowberry Fizz. That's going to give him a huge amount of information high in the sky. That way he can pick the reboot he wants to get his teammate back.
Once again, taking a look at Noms and Cringe. Just choosing to refarm up as they wait. There is a duo below them. There are duos around them.
Tak nevím, jestli ještě dám potom hru ještě, jako v publikách. Po tu tíře.
The drop down below.
Už možná asi půjdu.
This is like a huge switch up from the last time we saw Cringe and Noms. They were more towards Lavish Layer, finding a whole different team. And now they just continue to rotate around the map, find opportunity after opportunity, before finally disengaging out of Rebel's Roost. But the zone is over in this direction, so they do have all the time in the world to pick where exactly they want to position themselves before it all comes to an end.
Tak typek je dobře dat, jo.
See what they're capable of. The Buell, though, like we said, had that duo close by. It looks like they found each other, but just with that cabbage, sliver of HP has made it. Issue is no more fruits to work with. You can see the desperation here. He needs to find a med kit, a banana, something to get him a bit of HP, or he's done for.
Yeah, this is going to be his kind of last hope, moving on over in this direction. Bandages, apples, bananas. And he's really not finding anything. He finds the
medkit pod tím.
and this is where Debule's time and
Tam měl medkit.
run out in our 6th and final game of the day.
Oh, there was a med kit under the coat.
On tam měl medkit celou dobu, jsem si to nevšiml.
A tragedy coming to an end, but on the other hand, Noms and Cringe.
Tak co poté tu ty předvádí?
Being the other one that's left as a solo, trying to make his way through the window, but how long will he be able to run away as Noms continues his pursuit? Cringe and Noms land the opening shot 87% of the time.
A čtvrtý jsou mrtví.
So they are a very scary duo to go up against.
Mike, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna take the porta potty? I know he's trying to at least cut off an exit. And even though this wasn't the original team that they were fighting over towards Lavish Layer, Dexy and Eclipse did move over in the direction of Lavish Layer. My biggest assumption is possibly trying to get Storm Surge for themselves, which caught the attention of Crims and Noms. And now you can see why they're getting so aggressive, but another team enters the mix. That's Glubshy, that's Trexer, causing a little bit of a distraction, which is a huge blessing in disguise for Dexy and Eclipse.
Do they need it though? They've already done so much damage. But they have to decide now, is it worth it to take on a full 2v2 without having the upper hand in the engagement? I don't think it is as they try and disengage.
You see that over towards Rebels on the left? On the west? Underworld Medallion has been dropped. Somebody's trying to play sneaky around the Underworld to either get a teammate back or try to get some free Storm Surge. Interesting
potential play. But for Ravon and Fistroki, 108.
Oni zabili Tysona.
Taking out the duo.
Yeah, that's not good for last game efforts coming out of Veno and Tayson. They started this game 6 in around 11th place. Let's see where they fall after it's over. And for Veno and Tayson, they're one of the teams, you know, you heard Mini, Frankie, Levin talking about it. When do you push that panic button?
Dobrá mapa, tyjo.
We'll wait to see after this when they break it down to see if now is going to be that moment.
A už tam ty lamy nebyly. Z toho vzali
6
typci.
games in a whole different format in terms of point totals. If you come prepared tomorrow, you can really take over the competition by storm, as long as Vaniac and Swizz don't begin to run away with it in the final game.
Take it by force, in the words of Taco. Who will be the duo that does it, though? It's Cammy and Seti. We've seen this time and time again throughout the day, kind of taking slower rotations through the zone after already having had secured enough damage to kind of get through those initial zones. So they kind of pick and choose.
A tady jsou první.
In danger beforehand.
Seti and Cammy, kind of known for the slow style gameplay. In the end game, they begin to pick it up where they historically find the majority of their eliminations. As Vaniac and Swizz just on the edge of the zone, not too far for them to rotate. They're just trying to peek back and see what other players are going to be left behind. They see the reboot coming off. They saw somebody else rotating to probably stop the reboot, so they know there's at least 4 players. Make it 3 now with one of them getting taken down over on that side of the map.
Be careful though, Cringe and Noms from crouching to aggression. Might have just caught a player off guard. Eclipse once again left to run away with the shots coming through from the SMG.
Ajaj, tam je další tým, je tam jde. No typci nemají vyhráno, jako. Tam je další tým. O něch neví.
One team's trash is another team's treasure, and with how aggressive cringe of noms have been so far on the day today, that underworld medallion is going to be a huge pick-me-up, especially in some of those tight spots to where you might not have heals, but Siphon will do just right.
Byl request.
HD Queasy. I've been waiting for a big pop-off game from this duo, Jacob. And with the max materials, solid loadout, 215 above, water bending mythic, I just might think this could be the game.
I agree as well. They've been having a pretty solid day so far. I wouldn't say it's anything to brag about considering both of these players' history, but I like the way you mentioned all they need is one pop-off game, and they're due for one, and that one pop-off game would surely boost them up the leaderboards to close out the day here today. And you can see their damage, 363. Even though they're rotating deep and slow from the zone like they have in some of these games so far, it's almost a mirror to when they placed 5th with those 4 eliminations in Game 3 to where they had all that surge, and they didn't have to worry about it as soon as they made their way there. And now they're going to get blessed. They're on the side of the Rift Island, which means there's going to be a lot of opportunity to take those rifts, which will ease a lot of the pressure off of their rotation as well.
Opportunity, but they also got to be careful with the duos looking back into zone from the Rift Island. Banyak though has lost Swizzy. Got the 2 with the pressure from the surrounding areas. They're going to They do have the materials to do so from those elims, so now hopefully he can pick Swizzy back up.
Yeah, only if they knew Swizzy and Banyak went down. Probably been a good opportunity to try to end the run there, close the gap or stop it from spreading to end this day, and that's going to be a huge saver right there. If we look back at moments, if this point spread gets higher than the current total of 54, if we look at times like this, to where Banyak was once again able to save the day, pick up Swizzy, get him back into the game, and you can see their damage just before Storm Surge turns off, 250 plus above that threshold. There's going to be very little for this team to worry about.
Yeah, they have that full Wings of Icarus, so they can continue with these rotations just like you're seeing on the screen here. Banyak from the replay.
Že jsem dobře sejbnul svýho teammate, jo.
To get at both opponents while still having pressure from all angles.
Yeah, they might have got the Olympus medallion as well, so they're going to get a little bit of a speed boost. Kind of help them, or at least one of them is. We'll kind of see who has it here in a moment. But the Wings of Icarus is going to be the ones coming out. Oh, a nice little hip fire there with the Zeus Mythic DMR. Kind of helping them a ton when it comes to that Storm Surge, because they have fallen just above 100. And you can see how active they're getting, finding the opportunities. They're going up, down when it comes to that threshold.
Range noms. Going to continue following Karmi and his duo into zone here. They are 28 below, so they can use this as an opportunity to potentially do a bit of damage onto them. Karmi has been knocked. That's an opportunity right there. Finish off the knock. There it is. From 72 below to 1 above. But for how long?
I wouldn't think them too worried if they can find themselves with elimination. We talked about the Siphon first. On the Tooth on the other side. I think Cringe and Noms, they're just trying to back down their opponents, give themselves a couple seconds to stabilize their position, get the heals back on up before they assess their situation on this next rotation. They have a very, very far pull, one of the max here in the lobby, but they're not done just yet. They're going right back in. They want this elimination. They want 4 more points too. So he's just trying to stay alive. He's just trying to get out, but shots coming in from the other direction as well. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, some would say.
Gotta be careful, but they do have that upper hand on the
Oni na to umřou, že tady s ním fightí, místo toho, aby šli do zóny nějak.
They know this though, as they quickly decide, you know what, maybe it might.
Kámo, zase tam mají reklamu prostě, co dělají? Nepochopím, tyjo. Že to má znamená Fortnite zapotřebí, tyjo. No jsme to umřeli. Má dead teamy tam musí teď do zóny prostě. Nechápu, proč to udělali. No se bylo, no typek jedete jako. Hele, asi jenom jedno půjdu, jestli to nevadí. Já jsem celou unavený a to.
Yeah, I want to say, especially with so many other teams trying to rotate their way in, getting damage isn't necessarily going to be the hardest thing. It's surviving a situation like this when you become the focus of the lobby. Luckily for him, overbuilding only takes a second. And a lot of that focus instantly stops, especially since there's a whole nother duo trying to rotate.
On přežil nakonec. A zanech zase úplně mimo.
A better line of sight, and that's why Vortex are scroll not even on the same team, but they target out that player towards the outside and take him down.
Advantage coming through. Only thing left now is that Flowberry Fizz. Far pull once again. Zones are definitely not on Noms' side for this 6th game of the day.
Fakt mu dobře dal hlavu, tyjo.
Getting picked up with that Thunderburst SMG.
To divně jako teda mohl vidět, ale.
No, I saw that guy just kind of chilling there for a moment. Jump on board Seti and Cammy, having the same struggle as some of the other players here, down below the threshold. He was able to at least get one. You saw him instantly bounce up the threshold, and he finds another opportunity at an elimination, and even more damage thanks to that water bending ability. Something that I feel like a lot of people are using, but not the way Cammy's using it.
Look, we were talking about it. Thomas HD Queasy, is this going to be the big match that we've been waiting for? Meanwhile, though, Noms has been taking shots from the back as they're rotating in. He's done a great job so far with these max pulls. If he can make it in here with still a bit of materials, then I can see a clutch come through.
You know, so many players and teams are going to be behind him. He's running out a lot
Down
of
for
resources, but you can see him trying to think a couple steps ahead.
Že mu zase nevyjde zóna.
It's going to be a sacrifice of those materials, but something that he feels going to be a necessity
Nevyšlo mu
is
moc.
Thomas Queasy.
Ale to
Still
se v
trying
pohodě.
to move through almost unscathed towards the side, and they've been rewarded for it. They get the front side of
Tak
the
Queasy
zone.
s Thomasem HD nemají shieldy.
Looking at their loadout and the lack of shields, it's not going to be the easiest rotation. And
On
almost
furt
forced to
žije
find some sort of
Trulex, no to
refresh to
ne.
get the materials and the heals that you need.
A Janis, tyjo, který je asi 40. má high ground.
Slowly towards the low ground, and Thomas HD and Queasy will be there waiting for them. As Flixie and Yanis, though, are closer to the high ground, actually fully on height, as they're even connecting shots onto Vexy, and they're going to be looking to hold it.
And it's about time. They're the second most dominant high team throughout the qualifiers. They just
S těma to nepadá moc dobře. A Queasy jde.
Queasy gets separated, both of them just a sliver of HP, but Queasy's the one that's going to get knocked. Thomas, he has a moment here, a couple seconds to try to reassess the situation.
On nemá teammatea. On ho zabil. To je nějaký randoma. Hele, asi nejspíš jo, asi nejspíš budu. Není to jistý, ale asi jo. A Vaňák je dead.
Thomas continuing as a solo now, has to be careful as he's dropped his toes into the water. Zone pulls back once again, just one build to work with. He's gonna have to get right back up this ridge. He just dropped down.
Ty kamysy furt taky žijou. Hele, asi nějak tak podobně, jak třeba od 7, od 8. Nějak tak. Ale nejsem si jistý, jestli budu doma, ale asi jo, asi bych měl být.
A great job of going through almost unnoticed. The patience, the discipline to not fire that shot and give away his position as well.
Continuing to make it on in. 16 seconds left till zone fully closes. Clock's
Tu tam hlavně jsou typci.
A full duo on his left. He's going to be forced to break the cone.
Přijím pod ním.
So far,
On tady běhá bez matra. Ty kraso. A jenom půlnula zóna. Dobře, tak čau. A je dead. Ne, proč tady je Trulex furt? Ne, Sky je dead. Malibuka taky dead. Prosím, Kami. Yes, Kami dead. A Seti ještě. Yes, Seti taky dead. Paráda. To má Janis win, podle mě. Merstač Malibuka dead. Ty Trulex furt žije, o tom mi neříkej. Jako já docela taky vřec, takový jako, takový úplně duo, úplně strašně náhodný mi přijdou, já nevím.
Trulex left alone, has a banana, has a medkit, gonna play the heal off here. Clock's ticking, but he's securing placements.
And this is something he's no stranger of. He was able to pick up those 38
points
as a solo in the semifinals to give him a qualifying opportunity just to make it this far, and he's staggering himself back. Hopefully some of these duos go down, giving him free placement points or a position on the flank to try to disrupt, take somebody out, and snatch together an opportunity to steal the game.
Once again,
Trulex furt žije. To se mi moc nelíbí teda. Flick si to zkazil úplně, co dělá. Trulex dead, dobrý. Mapy. Hej, co udělal ten Janisova teammate? On to úplně salnul. Mapy pushuje. Mapy dead. To je OGL. A K2 je dead, takže Janis vyhrál. Poslední hru, no. Tak to dobře comebacknuli, jo. Protože oni byli někde úplně na spot.
Contested by Cammy and Seti, but it was no problem for them closing it out with a great way to finish day one.
Now you don't go through the qualifiers and be known as the second most dominant team on high ground.
Ten Flick si docela salnul na konci.
Big win out of the way, and they've done it yet again. These opportunities, taking down Kiro, and even going to the backside of the zone. Janis playing that one perfect, knowing it's all or nothing. It's this or lose. Even though the first medkit gets cancelled out, he has one more left in his back pocket for a big VR.
I got scared there for a second when Moppy
Tak to byly dnešní FNCSka. Čau čau. Tak, vypni se. Kdo pa vyhrál teda? Jo, he, dobrý. Pohodka. Tak kdo pa vyhrál FNCSka nakonec? Teda co to jmenuje, ještě není konec, ale první den FNCSek. Takže si vyzývá nějak první, náskok mají dost velký. Tu ty druhý randomové švýcarský, druhý 316 bodů. Velký no, mají 70 bodový náskok. Hele, na Instagramu mám soutěž o GIF, na Instagramu. Instagram je Fishcz potržítko. Kam je se ty třetí? On je Trulex čtvrtý, no to ne. Proč je čtvrtý? Ne, ty dva týmy nesnáším. Trulex, Sety a Kami. Thomas HD Quizy 5, dobrý. Scroll se Skyem 7. Malibuka Merstač 8. Rezon dal 10. Pixie 14. On poslední hru zase zkazil. Tyson Venos 17. Ty typci byli poslední a poslední hru dali druhý místo, takže se ty úplně klačnuli. Viko s pingem 24. Fredoxy 36. Andilex 46, no nedaří se jim. A tady borci 51. s 0 bodama. Jež average umístění je 46. Jo, jednu hru dám tady. Poslední. Kam prostě 0 bodů. Chodáci týpci, tyjo. Jejich nejlepší umístění je 38. A průměrný 46. Jo, můžeš se mnou. Chudáci týpci. No zajímavý, no, zítra to bude zajímavý, no. Upřímně si myslím, že oni si to udrží. Oni hrajou fakt dobře, jako. Hele, asi dám buď to duo nebo tria, no, záleží, jestli s námi budeš hrát. Jo, už dáme jednoho typka a jestli s námi budeš hrát, tak bychom dali tria. Či tak napiš nick a nebo mě dej request to join. Jo, budem. Že se jen něco podívám tady. Můžem klidně. No dej ready hlavně. Tak někam to označte. Můžeme jít k Grimgate. Klidně můžem. Mě by to nevadilo. A tak to nevadí. Tady máš minička.
Jo, takhle nemůže funguje.
Nice, dobrý.
Čau.
Čau, čau.
No. Mám aktivovat bose?
Můžeš, můžeš.
Okay.
Ale máš tam docela velkou ozvěnu.
Já?
Aha.
Tak já si dám sluchátko.
Okay.
Za chvilku. Nebo si to dám hlavit na tom. Počkejte. Co tak? Nice. Ona už po mě dobost. Já nemám nábost. No.
Jak se tady hodil prostě stáčí.
Hody pomoct, kuše. Mám furt ozvěnu?
Asi ne už. Ne, máš furt, máš furt.
Aha. Počkej. Můžu shotgunem? Jestli jdu opravdu, můžu shotgunem? To je úplně děsivé. Okay. Ne, můžu zase někomu dát medailon. Jo, tak já se vezmu. No, ať si ve... Luky, pojď taky. Pojď taky. Že pojď taky, nebo. Jo.
No tady nezačal.
Čau, čau, čau. Vím a tam, hele, vím a tam. Jo, jasně, děkuji, děkuji. To budou noc, hele.
Co bych má dostat bílý. Tak. Tady... Jo, asi. Co jsou tohle? Jdeme na ostrov?
Můžem.
Asi tam rovnou nebo křídla. Co se na střeše. Okay. Co ne? Tady máte... No. Já mám... Korunka. Můžeme snapit. OK. Jdeme rašovat, nebo?
No, asi můžem. Oni jsou v tom bunkru? Teda, no.
Jo, tam vidím jednoho.
A jo.
Budou.
Dead.
Jdu hora. Normálně. Ano, u mě.
Jsou v tom, tady, v tom bunkru. Asi.
Jo, jde hora mě. Jde tady. Jo, jdeme.
A jedno.
Tamhle? Ne,
Dead.
já myslím všechno, co to dá.
Nice.
Aby to měl za mě uchod. Ne, ne.
Dead.
Ne.
Poslední dva. No tak velkou zónu, cože?
Jsme vyhráli.
To jo.
No, to je pravda. Prostě vyhrám. Nikdy nevíš. Jo. Ta socha za pár dní praskne. Jo. Okay. Počkat. No, ale asi. No. Pevně stále.
Pěkně. Tak děkuju za hru,
A děkuji za venu.
Jo, tak čau. Tak já děkuju všem za stream. A zase zítra. Čau.